Oh man, welcome back everybody. It is absolutely frigid today. And by frigid, I mean feels like minus 43 frigid. That is absolutely blistering cold, so this intro's got to be short. But today we're not going fishing. It is too cold to go fishing for me, but I'm going to give you a first overlook and my first thoughts on the Vevor diesel heater. That's right, I've upped my game and I'm going to the diesel heater. I don't know if I'm gonna like it or not. I've had it running in the garage for probably about 45 hours already, and I absolutely love it. So let's get in the garage, let's get out of this cold, and I'm gonna give you a little walkthrough and first impressions of the diesel heater. Oh, all right, here we are in the nice semi-warm garage. It used to be a lot warmer in here. I keep this around 20 degrees, but of course, without having this in here, it's a little bit chilly in here. But yes, I've been running this heater to heat my shop for the last like 48 hours, 50 hours, and it has worked absolute flawlessly. I apologize for this video. It's going to be a lot of my yapping. I don't know anything about diesel. I'm by far the least person to ask anything about diesel, so that's kind of good, because if you follow or subscribe to my channel, you're going to come along the journey on me figuring this out. Most people don't know much about these heaters as well. Even the instructions don't know much about these. So that's why I thought I'd make these videos and kind of go along how everything works. So like I say, I apologize for all the talking, but stay tuned. We are gonna get this heater hooked up, the Eskimo Escape 2400 outside in the cold, and I'm gonna show you how this all operates as well. But yeah, this is the Vevor heater. It's the Chinese diesel heater. That's basically the easiest way to call it. These things are becoming a big rage, especially down in the States, down in Europe, and now they're starting to get out into Canada. There has been a lot of people that have been running them for a while, but hey, I'm a little slow on the train. I want to see how this works. Now, of course, if you guys watch any of my other videos, we do a lot of overnights as well, and we've been using the Big Buddy with propane heat. We've never ever had an issue. Make sure you have carbon monoxide detectors. That's the most important thing. But I wanted to step up the game and see how well these actually work. They're not bad. I got this on Amazon for I think it was like 201 bucks. That's pretty cheap. But when you're buying it, you also have to take in consideration diesel fuel and a battery. These things eat up a lot of power when turning on and turning off. So you're gonna need something big enough to run it for a long period of time. Now I've had this thing running in the shop for about 32, 34 hours on the 60 amped outdoors battery, but the test or the voltage test was still really high. So I don't know how long I'd have to run it for to actually do a full test on this. I don't know if I'm gonna do a video on a full test on the 60 amp hour until we're doing it overnight or a long day on the ice, just because that just could take forever. I may hook up an 18 amp hour or a 23 amp hour and then do the math. Okay, well, I won't do the math. I'll probably hand it to one of my friends, get them to do the math so that you can they can figure out how long these things would last. You can use deep cycle batteries, you can use SLAs and stuff like that as well. They're just super heavy. This 60 amped outdoors battery pack is what I usually use for my overnights as well. This is a pretty simple setup here. Not much to it. Like I said, the battery's on the inside. The case from Princess Auto has a voltage meter, has two prongs for positive and negative, and then of course it has a USB output as well. That's all I need. This is like my booster pack. The heater, pretty basic as well. Has a casing, it has your exhaust system here. It does come with a little vent here that you can attach to, you know, direction your heat. And it also comes with this cool little vent here as well. Cool thing about this vent is if you do it in an ice castle or if you build a box, you can actually put this on the outside of the box so it looks nice instead of just a giant hole. That's about it. There's not all the screws in here. I have taken it apart. I have done a little bit of work with the pump. The pump does have a ticking sound, usually like a tick, tick, tick. That's gonna be the pump for the diesel, of course. I didn't like that sound, so I ended up taking this whole thing apart, putting some sound deadening heat foam around there as well, and it seemed to work great. I can barely hear it. Like I said, we're gonna get this in the tent outside, minus 40 plus. Absolutely frigid, and we're gonna give this thing a test yet. I'll give you a quick little walkthrough on here. I have done, like I said, I have done some modifications. The heat outputs here, thermostat and control panels here. It does come with a remote, which is really cool. If you're laying in bed or if you do take this temperature gauge off, it has a long wire. Put that in the tent. You can remote start it as well. That's super cool. I believe what they said, it has a 5-liter tank. the instructions are worse than me just guessing. They're terrible. So I mean, do some Google reviews, go do some YouTube, do some research, because you're gonna need it to figure out how these things actually work. On the back here, it has the positive negative for your power source, and then your fresh air combustion intake on the outside here. Now I did take this to Mike Totoli at Two Rivers Boatworks, and he helped me make a little bit of a bracket. Now the hard thing about these is that this exhaust has to come out the bottom. Now we've done a lot of like research on if you can mount them sideways, which I was going to do. That way I was just going to turn the heater sideways and have it come directly out. But I heard that it may not be that great for the heater. So I'm going to leave it the way it was. We decided to make a little bit of a heat plate on the bottom. It's just a little teeny extension with an aluminum plate on the bottom. Now it doesn't look like much, but I let this thing run in the garage for 30 hours with this on a piece of wood. I have a thermal camera or infrared camera, and after that 30 hours, it only raised up anywhere between 5 to 12 degrees underneath that plate. So that aluminum plate dissipates enough heat that the reflection off the exhaust, there's nothing. So my goal is, especially in the Escape 2400, I want to put this directly on top of the plastic sled, and I was concerned about that melting or overheating that plastic. This is going to work absolute perfect. So first modification, lifting it up, putting aluminum plate. You want at least about 1 inch clearance underneath the feet. That is awesome. Now there's a whole bunch of different styles that you can get this of this heater as well. You can get a tall, skinny one, or you can get a short, fat one. I got the short, fat one, well, because, well, they work. I know they're super strong, they're durable. Yeah, I know, I'm just making excuses. But yeah, no, this is gonna fit better underneath my seat of my flip over. So that's the number one thing I was looking for, was compact, how compact it was. The tall, skinny one is just as good. It depends on your application, what you're gonna be using it for. That is it. I think that's all I'm gonna say for today on the introduction of the heater itself. Now what we're gonna do is get this Escape, we're gonna get it outside into that -40 weather. We're gonna turn it on. I'm gonna let you see how it works. One of the biggest things I had to do is I end up cutting a little teeny hole on the side of my sled, so that way I can have a exhaust pass through. I haven't done it yet. I've been doing some research. All this is some high temp silicone. I have like an old toilet flange bracket. This will go in together like this. And then I have a couple of washers that I have to bore out the side to make sure it's going to fit this exhaust as tight as possible. This is going to go in the middle. So these washers will get hot, but that heat will not transfer through the silicone edges. I'm going to do a lot of research and a lot of experimenting with this as well. So like I say, stay tuned, subscribe, and I'll give you a lot of more information on this when I get it done in the future. Right now, let's get this thing outside. I'm going to show you how well this thing works. Let's go. All right, so for this demonstration, I am just going to keep the battery on the floor here, and then I'm just going to wire it in this way. I usually will have the battery set up here. I haven't decided how I want to do this setup, but I think I want to have it on the far side here, so that way the heat comes up through the center. I'm not sure if you can see it from there. It's right in the back on the corner, and it fits really well. It is seat height, which is I think 13 and a half inches high. Perfect, absolutely perfect for this this setup. I did take the back off this chair so you can see a little bit better as well. So let's get this hooked up. Pretty easy. Red goes on red, black goes on black. So when it turns on, you can see that it has the display screen, of course, the remote there. Pretty easy setup. Just have to take this center button, hold it in, and that's it. And now we're just gonna let it run. It does have a pretty big startup stage, so when it runs and it starts up, it literally sounds like a jet. Like this thing just blows air like crazy. I'm not sure how well it's gonna work, because like I said, it is really, really cold, but like I said, we're gonna sit here and try it out. Of course, I just barely dragged this out, so I mean, it's still kind of warm from being in the shop, so it's not nearly -40, but it's still gonna work. One thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the little exhaust vent that goes, that comes with it. I'm gonna take that and point it right up. That way it's gonna take all the cold air from underneath and it's gonna push it straight up here. I think that's gonna work really well. So like I said, just take the vent, attach that on. I'm just gonna point it up, and then there we go. So I'm sure you can all hear that ticking. That ticking is actually the fuel pump. Now it's hard to say because it does seem a little loud right now, and it was quieter yesterday. I'm not sure if it's because when the prime up or anything else like that as well, but hey, it depends on what bugs you or what doesn't bug you. Oh, all right, so here we go. The heater is all warmed up. It's probably, I couldn't even tell you, maybe 15, 20 degrees in here. It's actually getting really, really warm. It is on number 3, which is a pretty high temperature. If I put it down to number 1, that's going to be the lowest speed, and then you'll be able to kind of hear the sound difference between this. I will crank it up, and I'll also put it in Alpine mode. So Alpine mode is basically like sleeping mode. That. There we go. So now it's on sleeping mode. This is going to run the lowest rate possible. It is like almost disgustingly hot in here. I gotta open up a window. That is crazy. So yeah, with this diesel heater running, it is crazy hot. It only took about 5 minutes for it to warm up, and that's the entire tent. I can feel it all the way from the top to the bottom, which is really cool. It does have the intake on the back of the heater, so of course it's going to be sucking in that cold air from low and pushing it straight up. I mean, the microphone won't do just because that thing picks up even the smallest ticks, which is going to be good for me because I'll be able to hear how loud this thing is on that mic when I'm doing my videos in here. I assume low or Alpine in this -40 weather, if that's all I need, oh man, this thing's going to heat up to 650 XD like nothing. That's it. This is it, you guys. This is diesel heater life. I'm so excited I went this choice. This is the first time bringing it outside and actually trying it, and it's almost, I gotta open up this window. Oh, it's almost too hot in here. I might actually have to put it outside so that way it's sucking cold air in from the intake and having to heat up a little harder. Man, that's impressive. So like I say, it's kind of a weird video, kind of a, I don't know, I threw this all together this morning type video, but I wanted to give you guys a first glimpse of the diesel heater and my first opinions of it. So far, like I say, running it in the shop has heated my car and a half garage with 10-foot ceilings like nothing. It's heating this thing up with the bare minimum, which means it's going to use almost no power, no diesel. It should last a long time. Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to get you guys a lot of numbers. I'm going to do a lot of testing, and I guarantee you, I'm going to tell you the pros and cons of this. If you know anything about me, if I don't like something, I will let you know. So I'd like to thank you guys all for watching for the introduction to the Vevor Chinese diesel heater. Stay tuned, more videos to come. Stay safe on the ice, stay safe on your overnights. Make sure you have a carbon monoxide detector, and until we catch you again, keep it real.